Hello everybody and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. In today's video, I wanted to revisit Raiden just because I hear a lot of people say she's great. So maybe I was a little harsh on her. I know I've revisited Zhao, but I haven't done it with Raiden. So let's see if maybe I was wrong about Raiden. So here are my stats. She's level 80 out of 90, and her talent is crowned along with the level 6 for this. I do want to get this to level 9 or 10. But I'm not gonna spend the books just because I don't wanna. She's not. I crowned her ult and she just didn't seem worth it. So I don't know. We'll see if she impresses me. I'm gonna be using her in a Eula comp, so let's get into it. If you do find yourself enjoying this video, could you guys please subscribe? Currently, we're at 201 subscribers, so if you want to subscribe, get us to 202, thank you, and if you don't, then hopefully I can earn your subscription by the end of this video. So let's just start off with here, and we're going to set up, and I'm not really going to focus on getting Raiden. I probably should have attacked with Eula first. Eula is our main DPS here, so she's obviously going to do a lot more damage than Raiden, where well, here, the thing is, this is the team where I think Raiden will always best function in. I probably should have used Zhongli's burst. Forgot to. Oh, that's not. Alright, so 7,000, 8,000, 6,000. Just not impressive damage compared to what, like, compared to Eula and how much damage she's doing. She doesn't seem too strong. Maybe. Eula, the problem is, Eula is a physical burst DPS. So, when Raiden does the same amount of damage on her hits, and then does a burst ult that is a lot stronger, yeah, this is, it kind of looks one-sided here. There is no real way to fix that. So, that's basically how that works. And the problem also arises when I'm using a 4-star sword. Granted, this 4-star sword was practically made for Eula, but it's still a 4-star sword compared to the Staff of Homa and the other couple best weapons. I did want to pull that one pole arm that was like based off of energy, and the more energy you had in your entire team, it would give you better like burst damage. I did want to pull that for her because it was a really good spear for her. And you could out damage, I think, her best weapon if it was R5 compared to the best weapon R1. Actually, no, you couldn't. No, it was close, but you couldn't. The best weapon would actually still come on top, even if you did have that R5. But I did try and pull for that spear even at R1, but I just couldn't, and that's how we ended up with this. So the weapon I'm talking about is, I think, Wavebreaker's Fin, just in case you're wondering. I don't find it like good that she's doing less damage. I don't understand the people that will defend Raiden so hard to the point where you lie. Like, you want to lie. You don't hit 20k per slash. You're just lying, and I can tell you're lying. I have her. But this is the team comp that I think she best functions in, and this is why I think she's still a good character. When I say Raiden's underwhelming, I think a lot of people jump to the conclusion that I'm like, oh, she's bad. No, Raiden's good. Just in, like, certain team comps, she can't be used in, like, literally almost 90% of the team comps, because most team comps have good energy recharge. Drop that down again. Gonna use this for Eula.
Vengeance will be mine. Wrapped in ruin.
Eula 33,000 damage. That was that 33,000 damage there? 168,000. All right. I didn't use that right. All right, let me get Zhongli's shield back. All right, let's see what this damage does. 68,000, 9,000, 1,200. I'm trying to look at the crits just because the crit rate is kind of my fault. So I'm not gonna try and focus too much on like the non-crit hits. So that was a good showing. She looked good there. Did not recover all of Eula's burst, which is another problem I have, because like you're working that hard and you can't recover Eula's burst still. Granted, I probably would use double cryo rather than Zhongli on this team. And I think Eula hit 33k there? Raiden, when I say she's underwhelming, I mean she's underwhelming because you see what Eula does, and all she has to do is have an Electro character in the party. And, like, Bennett or something. So, let's go test out Raiden when she has Bennett buff active, which really you shouldn't be doing that, because Bennett, like, you want to do your main DPS with Bennett. Like, you don't want to be using, you don't want to be raising Raiden's attack. You want to be raising Eula's attack, because Eula's going to do more damage than Raiden, because Raiden's damage is underwhelming. There's no... it's just the downtime that you're supposed to have with Raiden, and where she's filling in the damage, it feels weaker, and I'd rather just run, like, a different unit. Alright, so here we go. I'm gonna just use Zhongli's Meteor, and then we're gonna go out, and then we're gonna do this. I'm not gonna try and focus on the damage. We're just trying to set this up for Raiden to be super good. Alright, everything's active for Raiden. Her thing was active, and 13,000 damage, 11,000 damage, and 5,000, which was a non-crit, 15,000. So, you look at that, and she's like, oh yeah, she's great. But you're not using her as a main DPS, you're using her as a sub DPS. You're trying to get energy for Eula, which she actually did an awful job at, but I think that's just because the guy died really fast. I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh yeah, Raiden could be a main DPS, because I'm like, oh yeah, this cooldown is 11 seconds, right? It's 11 seconds if you subtract this. This is what I'm talking about. You would have to have a sub DPS for your sub DPS. Raiden doesn't work like that. Raiden, you don't use her as a main DPS. You can, but that's not how you really use her. I think once you get C2, you're probably... the people that are like, oh yeah, Raiden's amazing, I would totally agree with her. If Raiden's C2 was her C1, I would be way less hard on her. Because it's basically like Hu Tao. I don't mention Hu Tao's charge attack, not consuming stamina, because C1. C1 completely negates that. If I'm doing a direct comparison of C0 to C0, then I'll mention that Hu Tao at C1 gets her charge attack. But I don't try and downplay Hu Tao whenever she uses, like, a charge attack. And it's like, oh yeah, you can't really, like, you don't really dodge or anything. Like, yeah, but it's C1. In C1, most players wouldn't get C1 Hu Tao, but there are definitely a lot of players that can get C1 Hu Tao. I believe in Spiral Abyss, there's one character in particular that has a constellation. I think it might be Kazuha, but there's a constellation, and it's a 5-star, and the average is 1 point something. Meaning, most people have a Constellation 1 Kazuha. Just using Kazuha as an example, whatever 5-star it is. So, I think it's honestly pretty... it's okay to say, oh yeah, this isn't, like, unobtainable. C2 is a little bit of a reach, but... which is why I don't like how this is here. Like, Raiden with Constellation, she really gets good. Like... and then she also decreases the cooldown, right? Yeah, so you can minimize. This basically turns Raiden into the greatest, like, rotation user out of all. Because if you're also including this and having this there, it turns her into an amazing, like, rotation user. So I think Raiden, like, if you're comparing, like, a C6 Raiden to, like, most of the characters in the game, I would say she's probably better than most of the characters in the game. Let's see, like, but the problem is, like, we're looking at a character with a 4-star weapon who is basically out damaging her. So my talents are worse. Honestly, I just don't understand. Like, Eula, a character with a 4-star weapon, is able to just completely wipe the floor with Raiden's damage. So Eula, a character who doesn't have to work for her damage basically at all. You could just use Zhongli and Bennett, buff her, and that's it. That's her damage. She was doing that much damage just with her charge attacks. And then you flip into Raiden, and it's like, unless you're buffing her, which you don't want to do because she's not your main DPS, does less damage, and she requires more work to get her damage. Like, she requires more work to get her damage. Like, why? Hu Tao, Yoimiya, Ito, all you have to do is press a button with them. Like, I don't know, I don't understand where the people are coming from that are defending Raiden so hard, saying she's one of the best characters in the game. She's a great character, but she's not one of the best. Her utility is very limited. Very, very, very limited. Eula is the character where she syncs up with perfectly. And I don't know. I would probably, this is kind of a different thing. If I was using Diona, she would get more resolve stacks. If she's not already maxed out whenever I use all the ults. I don't really keep track of that. I just use it when I use all the ults. So, I just don't know. Like, Raiden, she does good damage if you're buffing her, but you don't want to buff her. If you do buff her, then yeah, whatever. But that's a main DPS's, like, thing. You buff Eula, you don't buff your sub DPS. So I don't really care about this argument anymore. I still stand by my point here. I'm gonna give my Staff of Homa back to Hu Tao. And Raiden's good. Nowhere near as good as half the people say. See you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe. Bye.